But not only do they doubt God's word and not want to move on and not want to go to work, but all they saw was obstacles and reasons not to go. And when you and I become so fixed, we fix our attention onto the obstacles rather than the objectives, we're always going to fail. When you focus upon the objects, the obstacles, rather than the objectives that God has called you to do, fear is going to overtake your faith. It is so easy for all of us in here to do that. God gives us a mission. And when we begin to look at the mission that He's given us, we see so many obstacles. And God is saying, take your eyes off the obstacles. Put them on the objectives. Put your eyes onto what I've called you to do. Not onto all this stuff that's coming onto you. And so, their cry of warfare has now been replaced by a cry of unbelief. We are not able to do it. We just can't do it. They're too many, they're too big, they're too equipped, they're too trained, they're too educated. We can't do it. In other words, they end up having this grasshopper mentality. And grasshopper mentality simply means that everything looks big in your sight. Everything looks big in your sight. And something else about a grasshopper you've never thought about it is when you walk along, if you don't know a grasshopper's there, they'll just lay still on a leaf. They won't move. I mean, you've got to literally kick the bush to get a grasshopper sometimes to jump up. They have this mentality sometimes that if I just lay low, if I don't rock the boat, if I don't disturb the devil, if I just keep low, everything in my life will eventually, hopefully, somehow, mysteriously, miraculously, everything is going to work out. When I'm here to tell you that, you might as well understand that you're in a battle. You're in a battle. And if you're going to be a grasshopper, at least be a grasshopper with sharp teeth. At least be an aggressive grasshopper. But people with a grasshopper mentality, they'll just lay low. And they say, we're like grasshoppers. Their faith had become crushed. Romans chapter 14 and verse 23 says, for whatever is not of faith is sin. That covers a lot of stuff in our lives. Hebrews 11 chapter 4 says, but without faith it is impossible to please God. If you and I want to please God, the only way we can please God is through faith. It's through faith. It's by stepping up in faith. A guy by the name of John Garnis said this. Now listen carefully. You've got to listen to this. He says, we are continually faced with a series of great opportunities, brilliantly disguised as insolvable problems. Let me read it again, because if you're like I am, I got to read it about 4 or 5 times. We are continually faced with a series of great opportunities. In other words, he's saying every day you get up, you're faced with great opportunities. But those opportunities are by Satan, by just the world's way it is, by whatever. But those opportunities are brilliantly disguised, hidden as insolvable problems. In other words, we see them, but all we see is insolvable problems. We see problems that can't be solved. But he says that these problems that can't be solved are nothing more than great opportunities for us. And I know that Satan does his best to, his best work is done in presenting our opportunities as problems that cannot be solved. Making things bigger or worse. Making things more deadly or more costly than they really are. They just seem big. But all God is trying to do is get us to stretch our faith.
Yes.
To believe. That's all God's trying to do.